Obviously chambered 5.56, yep. That thing is cute looking, I have to say, damn. Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be checking out the Canadian legal CRU arms Temp 5.56. Now I have to say guys, there's a question mark beside that. This video was uploaded 2 years ago. I have to say now, to my knowledge, gun is not legal anymore, unfortunately. The firearm is not legal anymore. I'd like to think, you know, me being a Canadian, me being interested in firearms in general, I do like to keep up to date on the recent string of gun bans or whatever have you. I'm pretty sure this gun is illegal. I'm pretty sure if you were to look it up right now, and I did look it up before this video, it's out of stock everywhere, and I'm pretty sure it's just straight up prohibited now. The liberal government hates anything with plastic on it. It hates anything that's sporterized, and it particularly hates anything, quote unquote, that was used in a past military conflict. Now, you can look through history and tell me what firearm that isn't, because I'm pretty sure fucking most got, like, I'm gonna go out on a fucking limb here and say 70% of firearms could probably be traced to being used in a military conflict. A fucking Mosin Nagant that was created in what, 1898, I'm pretty sure. Looks like a hunting rifle. They don't have a problem with that because it's wood, right? But, you know what I mean, used in fucking every war since for the past 100 fucking years. I'm not here to talk semantics, right? Basically, the Canadian government makes no fucking sense. They don't know anything about gun laws. Whenever there is a workaround weapon such as this, right, they scramble and they rush to fix it because they know they're fucked, right? They know they don't know what they're talking about. So I'm pretty sure this is banned, basically, to get to the end of that tangent, which is very, very sad. That being said, I do want to check this video out still. This gun was originally made for the Canadian market a couple of years ago. So I do want to check it out, see what features that it has to originally get around that ban, right? I couldn't tell you specifically why it's banned now off the top of my head. I really couldn't. I'd have to look it up a little bit more. But yeah, guys, without any further delay, leave a like if you guys enjoy, subscribe if you aren't. Of course, leave recommendations down in the comments below. Without any further delay, guys, let's say we get right into this video. Sorry, that was a bit of a tangent at the start there. 1440p, captions on. We're going to leave a like and full screen, guys. Without any further delay, let's get it. What the fuck? Ain't no way. How's that man bringing so little maple syrup out to him with the in the desert? Ought to know better than that. Looks like a swanky firearm. And I have to notice originally, right off the bat here, let me just see if I can pause on it. I'm sure he's gonna talk about it. No traditional bolt, even though it's an AR platform. It kind of resembles almost a SCAR, almost, the way it kind of like looks. But there's no bolt, there's no traditional AR bolt at the end of the gun there is what I'm noticing right away. You do have the ejection port there, your magazine placement there as well. But yeah, you don't have a traditional bolt, but you got all the fucking fixings for a modern AR, so that looks pretty impressive, I have to say. Obviously chambered 5.56, yep. That thing is cute looking, I have to say, damn.
So welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, the Talking Mustache. Today we're going over a CRU Arms Temp 5.56. It's the Canadian ACR we have at home. So let's dive on in. Gentlemen, before we go any further, I know you're on the toilet. I know you're watching this, drinking your coffee, consuming your beer.
I do actually have my coffee right here.
In the comment section down below. If you don't do anything else, the comments actually do warm my heart, and I read them when I'm on the toilet, so it's like we're connected. It's the toilet synergy that really, you know what I mean.
I think so.
Like that athleticism, boyo. So what is the backstory of the Crew Arms Temp 556. So originally, I believe this was called
We have a bunch of
Crusading Arms
fucking
Temp
borderline retarded gun bans. That's the backstory of it. I'm sure I could die. Yeah, yeah, man. I don't know. Again, there's always been people have tried to make AR workarounds in the past. I want to say, well, the ban that originally sparked all this, right? Like the ARs being banned, all this shit, right? Like all of our restricteds being moved to prohibiteds, all of our non-restricteds being moved to restricted. That's not exactly what happened, but in a lot of cases that is what happened. But that's not what happened in every case, you know, like an SKS is still, to my knowledge, non-restricted, for example. Because we have 3 tiers. For those of you guys that don't know, I know there's a lot of Americans watching the channel. We have non-restricted, restricted, and prohibited, right? Prohibited are guns that are banned. Restricted are typically handguns, right? The sale of handguns in Canada has now also been prohibited, so you actually can't buy or transfer handguns anymore. So basically, the restricted class of license has basically been nullified. Why would you get it? Because you can't fucking own any of the weapons that used to encumber restricted, right? Lot of bullshit, man. I honestly should make a video sometime just getting into like the gun law and just ranting about it, man, because I could fucking go on for it forever. I'm just gonna get off topic, off track here. Let's not do that in this video. Let's just enjoy. You know, I'll try to look at this firearm and I'll try to think, okay, yeah, this is so cool. Canadians can own this, but no, we can't. So yeah, I think that's why I'm so pissed off, right? Because I'm looking at it like 2 years ago, this was legal. You probably could have bought this, right? They banned it. Now, if you still own it, you know what I mean? You still own it, but they do know you have it, right? The RCMP will know that you have that firearm still, so they theoretically could come get it at any time, but I don't think they're going to do that, thankfully, but who knows, right? Who knows?
The Crew Arms Temp 556. So originally,
sorry to rant. This is gonna be a rant video.
Templar 556. So it has a little bit of a fun name to it. It's kind of one of those names. It's kind of cheesy in my opinion, but I mean, crusading is kind of fun, you know, if you're a crusader back in the 1100s or the 1000s. I think it was the 1100s. Anywho, so the context of this gun is that Canadians
I don't know how fun that was, but yeah. Retarded?
Restricted. They don't have this thing called the Second
I'll say it. I'm Canadian. Retarded.
Yeah. And so their government took full advantage of restricting as many firearms as the Canadians most that you can restrict. Now this gun came about as
even more so recently.
Legality. So it is as good as it probably gets. Now, I'm not sure, and I'm not familiar, guys, totally with the banned weapons in Canada. I know for a fact, doing my research, AR-15's banned. I think
when the initial bans came, I was deployed, by the way, when these initial bans came. So, you know, it was me, bunch of, I think there was probably about 800 of us mustered at the time. All different ranks, officers, a whole shebang, right? We were mustered for COVID at that time. That's you know, and it's funny they banned all these firearms initially when COVID was a thing. Everybody was locked in their homes. Nobody could fucking go out and protest, you know, nothing like that, of course, right? So they really were fucking cucks when they banned it. I'm just saying, but yeah, anyone that had firearms, you know, i.e. military members, police, whatever have you, right? Or just, you know, people living rurally who, again, you can't leave your fucking house legally, right? Yeah, you know, they did it and there was no pushback because we literally couldn't push back against it, you know, at the time. There's no, like, what are we going to do? You know what I mean? We're going to start dissenting while we're mustered? No, bro, it's not going to work like that, you know? I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's a fucking joke. On the ban list initially, there was so much shit that was already prohibited. Like, they banned, like, 81mm mortars, Carl G's and shit like that. Like, actual laws, grenade launcher, like... China Lakes. I think I saw a China Lake on the original fucking ban list. Like, who the fuck in Canada has ever owned a fucking China Lake? Like, you know, it's shit like that. It's like, I don't know, whatever.
In Canada, I know for a fact, doing my research, AR-15.
Whatever.
Banned. I think AR-180s.
I'm gonna grip my teeth, guys. I'm sorry.
In that category, anything cool, probably gonna be banned. So this gun came about as a result of that. So how they worked around it essentially is a. You
guys are gonna hear me say some shit.
Off. From what they said, and they aren't compatible in any way, shape, or form with AR-15 parts or uppers. I mean, I should say uppers in that sense, or lowers. So you can't make
it doesn't look like
AR-15 style weapon per Canadian law. And that's pretty cool because now you still have this capability, and I'm not sure how they get their firearms, I'm not sure how they store their firearms because I only speak in Freedom Eagles, but if they can secure this one a lot easier and they don't have to go through the hoops of acquiring an AR-15, they can get this gun much easier. Then that is mega base because you have a God-given right to protect yourself. So this Temp 556 was...
Just gonna say that right now in Canada, no we don't. Absolutely no, we don't. As an American, I know it's probably radical to hear. In Canada, no, you do not have a God-given right to protect yourself. You don't have a legal right in Canada to self-protection. Self-protection in Canada is completely subjective, right? It depends on the circumstance, you know, and what you deem proportional in the moment. A court might not find proportional when you're getting fucking tried for first or second degree murder or manslaughter down the line. Just saying, happens all the time.
That is mega base because you have a God-given right to protect yourself.
Also
so
bullshit,
this 556 was made in America, but they are legal in Canada, if that makes sense. So these aren't made in Canada. Yet again, they're made in America. So I do like that. I do like American-made products. I like products that support Americans. That being said, I will not stop picking apart the gun, and I will tear it apart because I believe in serving you guys, my audience, over, you know, the manufacturer. I got this particular firearm from Gun Zone Deals, who at this time is going to be the exclusive distributor of this particular firearm. Now, there was no exchange of money. There was nothing like that. It was simply like, hey, I'll take the gun and I'll do my usual big chimp and monkey thing for YouTube with the firearm. So that's essentially it. Ammo was provided by AAC, which is the ammo sponsor of the channel. So
I see the stock there is also like foldable and whatnot. Again, I could be wrong. I'm like 99% sure this is illegal now. I could be wrong. 99% sure.
Gun was zeroed with some 77 grain from AAC, so big thank you to AAC, mega base. They believe in arming American citizens with as much ammo as
when they banned the
possible.
Type 81, that's what made me ultimately, like, that's what made me mega depressed when they banned the Type 81s. Those were such sick firearms. I fucking cringe whenever I see this fucking retard, man. Like, honestly, I can't believe it. Like, only prime minister in history, by the way, to lose 3 popular elections in a row and still maintain power for fucking 10 years. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that fucking crazy? And then he, you know, 50, 60 scandals in his career, you know, that's also a record. I think any other prime minister would have been out after 2 or 3. You know, I mean, whatever. People, I mean, I'm not even gonna say people. I'm gonna say like half of Canada loves taking it up the ass. That's what I'm gonna say because it's true. It's evidently true, based upon the way that we govern ourselves, like straight up the way we choose to govern ourselves. And that's the thing. A lot of Canadians do not fucking choose this at all, right? We've been actively fucking struggling against it for years now, years and years, decades even. It's to what avail, right? Especially when you start talking about the immigration policy in Canada currently, the fact that you can gain citizenship in 2 years, you know? So for the last 10 years, we've been importing about 300 to 600,000 people a year. That was the fear with your American border being wide the fuck open, by the way, but it's completely a reality here in Canada. 2 years, 2 citizenship once they're in country, then who do you think they're voting for once they get their citizenship? And their family that they bring over, who do you think their family's voting for once they're now Canadian citizens? It's a complete fucking joke, you know? The way we choose to govern ourselves here in Canada, I'm not going to say it made me lose faith in my country, right? Because I fucking love my country. I want it to succeed. I want it to be the best it can be. You know, but even if I had the opportunity to go back and serve my country right now, it's like the question of would I really want to? Honestly, I don't think so. In this case, I would be more willing to serve the United States than I would be Canada, for the simple fact of I could actually have a fucking life in Canada or in the US, right? I could have a sustainable life, a sustainable future potentially in the US. In Canada, I don't see a sustainable future. I really don't. I don't see myself having kids in this country because it's not. Why would I? You know what I mean? There's no reason to. It is what it is. Again, it's going to be a tangent video, guys. I'm sorry. We're going to get off topic a lot.
Gentlemen, before we go any further on the Crew Arms Temp 556, we of course have to thank the sponsors of this video. Sponsors such as Americana Pipe Dream Apparel. Big thank you to those guys for taking the time to sponsor the channel. They are fantastic young Zoomers getting after it in the milsurp world. I'm very proud of them. Wow, I'm so proud of them. How proud of them am I? Very proud. Very proud.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry you had to wait.
It wasn't bad, actually.
We also have to thank Infinity Targets. You know, you got to have something to shoot when you go to the flat range. I'm a big believer in mag dumping into trash, but for the times and the occasions of when you want to take your training serious, Infinity Targets, consider them out. You will see the B-roll, but I was mag dumping these bad boys point blank with a 7.62x39. They're still holding up, like kind of like that self-healing target type thing. Blew one big hole in it, but that was from point blank. But overall, she's doing pretty solid. Spray paint her up, and they are good to go. So big thank you to those guys. All right, let's get back to the video. If a cactus falls in the desert, do you hear it? So what is essentially this gun? Essentially, it's a beefed up AR-180. And so to prove it to you, we're gonna take it apart and take a quick look-ski at it. Weapon is clear. All right, now we gotta take a little bolt.
I really like that bolt design, I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of interesting. It's unique. You don't usually just like see that, you know what I mean? Also, I'm gonna be very interested to see the upper lower part of this gun as well, what that's gonna look like, what a field strip would look like here. Because again, just the way the weapon is designed, I mean, it's a very, very interesting design, I have to say. Like, it looks feasible as a weapon.
Boys, and they're kind of tight as a tiger. Getting these mugs out.
Like, even with the retardation of the Canadian legalness, right, around it, it still looks like a decent enough firearm. We'll say those pins are pretty tight though to get out. Usually it's just a fucking whatever.
So we get our pins out going, pop off the back. There we go.
Okay.
Now it's pretty much from this point.
That's interesting. Wow.
Have any familiarity with the AR-180? It's like a beefed up bolt, and this bolt is actually pretty chunky. It's
yeah,
a very thick bolt. And it looks very familiar, of course, to an AR-15 bolt right here, but the entire mass of this whole thing
that's all different.
Properly thick. And then we have our recoil springs and guide rods. The thing is pretty simple, and then just tossing her back together. I'm gonna throw this mug back in if I can, if I'm not retarded. There we go. Get our recoil springs. Toss them back in.
It's a pretty simple design too, nothing complex.
Want to be better at this than I ever will? Go ahead and feel free to check out SDI, another sponsor of the
Sonoran Desert Institute. Whoa!
Gunsmith training and look way better at this than I ever will. So big thank you to SDI.
We'll see. He's kind of embarrassing himself with putting that back together. That's okay though, it happens.
Gun
I understand.
than I ever will be. Oh, monkey.
Ooh.
Oh, monkey. Alright, so let's go over some of the features of the gun real quick. So we got a 16-inch barrel, got the classic ACR looking stock. I think this one's made by F5. A monolithic upper. If you don't know what monolithic means, neither do I. Savio put it in. Thank you. We have
I do know what monolithic means, actually.
A very affordable weapon light, but I mean, is there better stuff out there? Of course. Hooked up to a mod light hot button, aim point T2, and a non-reciprocating charging handle over here. Manual of arms, just real quick, very similar to an AR-15.
Charging handle's very unique. Wow.
Still figuring it out. Weirdly, and I'll explain here in a second.
I'm trying to think, like, again, you know, I obviously have experience on the C7, right, which is essentially just an AR platform. You know, AR weapon, right? Like, it's our standard issue service rifle here in Canada, right? It's the only AR platform weapon I've unfortunately had the opportunity to work on. And this is obviously, it's a little bit, but not really much like that at all. It's very unique how it's done, the differences. I don't know if there's anything in the American market that people just go out of their way to buy like this, right? Again, visually, from the outside, kind of resembles a SCAR almost, but it's not, you know what I mean, at all. Very interesting firearm design, I have to say. I'm actually kind of interested in this again, but I have to remind myself it's probably not legal.
Quick, very similar to an AR-15. You got your safety.
Probably
selector.
banned, in fact.
Still figuring it out weirdly, and I'll explain here in a second. But mainly, this little bolt drop right here. All you have to do is push up, and it drops the bolt. Now, you have what seems like a lot of ways to lock the bolt to the rear in this firearm, and that's technically 3 ways. 3-way. No, Jesus, I'm sorry.
Whoa.
All right, now. Lock the bolt back with this neat little MP5 style.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, exactly. It's almost an MP5 charging handle on like an AR platform. It's weird. Like, you don't see that on full-size rifles usually. But again, I don't know. I guess that's like the Canadian compliant part of it, right? Is the way the bolt is done. But I don't know.
Handle, you can lock the bolt to the rear, which is kind of fun because then you can HK slap it. But yeah, that option, then you have your bolt catch that you can lock the gun open with. So I guess we just hold her down, and she locks open. And then, of course, the final method.
I actually don't mind that at all, to be honest with you. It's weird, but I don't mind it.
Though, I will say, I was having on some of the rounds, I don't think the bolt was locking to the rear on the last round. So let's try that out real quick. So just got one round in the gun. There we go. Let's see if she locks to the rear. Okay, there she goes. On some of the rounds, she wasn't locking to the rear on me, which is kind of frustrating because it helps with that speed of reload for getting another round into the gun. So
any time, and that's been just firearm law for fucking I don't know, the better part of a few decades now. I feel like anytime you have a firearm that's out of ammo, your bolts should automatically lock to the rear so that the operator can obviously turn the weapon to the side, you know, visually see, okay, I'm out of fucking ammo, conduct their reload after that, right? It's the fact that that doesn't happen. I guess it's like what, like maybe a 70-30 chance it doesn't happen, maybe. Yeah, it's kind of annoying. I could definitely see the irritation with that for sure.
Kind of frustrating because it just helps with that speed of reload for getting another round into the gun.
Right.
So the trigger itself is just going to be some sort of mil-spec trigger. This is compatible with better triggers out there that are compatible with AR-15 triggers. But out of the box that I got a very trigger. It's not terrible. It's not great. When you get spoiled like I have by nice Geisley triggers and nice, you know, zero black, like very nice triggers, this is not one of them. Out of the box at least. Of course, you can always swap it out and get a better trigger. So let's start with the things well, hold on, Savio. Should we start with the good or the bad?
Start with the bad.
No, I want to start with the good. So what I do like about the gun, I like that it is good to go for Canadians. I like the idea of that. I feel bad for them that they don't have the same Second Amendment rights, but I guess you should have revolutioned harder back in the 1700s and then slowly had all your rights chipped away anyway. That's kind of a meta take, but I like that it's good to go.
It's kind of a meta take. Again, when you still compare two countries, it's pretty bad, you know, comparatively. I'm just saying, like, in terms of what is not allowed, even what you cannot do as a fucking citizen of your nation, right? Again, things that are rights in America are not rights here in Canada. You know what I mean? And they might be in the Constitution, but they're not a right. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta really read the fucking fine print with some shit, you know? Goddamn.
For them, I like the aesthetic of the firearm. I like that if you're one of those guys that doesn't enjoy AR-15s, if you are a hipster to some capacity, then you will probably like this. You'll think, hey, I want to have all the benefits of, you know, using 5.56 and 5.56 mags, and I don't want to have an AR-15. Then this will be good to go for you. At least it breaks up the monotony. I think these are retailing for around $1,900, so probably around $2,000 all said and done, which.
So that's American. So current going rate, if I was to buy that in Canada right now, it'd probably be about $2,700, which is a fucking oof. That's an expensive firearm. Holy fuck.
Retailing for around $1,900, so probably around $2,000 all said and done, which I'll talk about in the dislike.
Probably be closer to $2,800, $29 with tax.
But I also love the ACR stock on here. It's very much that ACR we have at home type vibe. Because this gun has the ACR stock is pretty much why I was like, okay, I saw that and I was down to do the review on the gun. Because there are guns I will turn down just because I don't think they're intrinsically that interesting to the audience, but this is one of those where it's so new. It's
a very interesting firearm. You don't see shit like this.
Try it out. Now that's one of the things I like about it. And one another thing that it has going for it is it has a transferable lifetime warranty. So that is a little up factor for you if you are into that. As well as the aesthetic of the stock, I do love that it has the folding stock capability.
That is sick.
The AR-180 style system in the gun.
And that wasn't my favorite thing about the Type 81, but that was a very, very cool thing about those foldable stock Type 81s. You know what I mean? You could straight up just fucking fold that motherfucking in and start Somali blind firing that fucker if you wanted to. You know, they were very, very swanky firearms. Damn shame that they are banned now, unfortunately. The only reason, or the only, I guess, time I had the opportunity to fire them, right, was a buddy who owned one, right? You know, and I don't know if he still does or still doesn't, right? You know, I actually don't talk to the guy anymore, but yeah, no, he had a bunch, and they're very fucking fun firearms. You know, it's essentially a semi-auto AK. Essentially, that's really all it is. There's the Type 81 like AK variant, and then there was the LMG variant, which was also legal in Canada, and I think they only banned that a year or two ago. You could buy the 100 round, I think 100 or 150 round drum magazines for the Type 81 LMG style weapon. You know, 5 rounds with a fucking you know, five round capped, of course, right, with a spring in there, of course, but you know, it's a spring, you know. But I'm just saying, it just goes to show you, and that was legal for decades, right? I'm not telling you to do or don't do anything, but that was legal for decades, right? And it's kind of the case of like where, like, who the fuck comes up with this shit? You know what I mean? Like, why? I don't know, whatever. Again, I'm not going to get too much into it. Whatever. Fuck it.
It has the folding stock capability thanks to the AR.
If you guys want a rant video, let me know.
System in the gun. So that is pretty cool. The charging handle is fun with the slap down if you want to do MP5 style. then I dig it. Of course, the monolithic rail is great for lasers if you're running nod stuff, so there is that. Now, let's go over the dislikes. So weird thing about being a gun YouTuber and doing it as long as I have is that I realized, for the most part, whenever I get a gun, I don't usually hate it. There are just things about it that I strongly dislike, because I end up getting these guns and I shoot them and I have fun with them, and I don't really run them through, like, I'm not like surviving in the trenches of Ukraine, right? I'm running these in a very comfy environment. At worst, the weather's bad out, right? I'm not worrying about dying, so I don't get a true intimate relationship with this gun. So running the gun in its comfy environment, there are the things I don't like about it just off the get-go. One thing I don't like about the gun is the logistics behind it. With it being kind of a proprietary thing, I'm not also familiar with, you know, the AR-180 logistical supply chain. I'm not familiar with the CRUARMS Temp 556 supply chain. I'm very comfy and familiar with the AR-15 logistics of like all the parts I'll need, everything I know that's gonna wear and tear. This is a new platform, technically speaking, to me, and I worry about that as far as longevity goes. Now, to counter that, I have a lifetime warranty, but that is when times are good. In your worst case scenario, if things are going bad, you may not get to use that lifetime warranty.
True.
Another thing I like / dislike is how solid this gun is. It is built like a tank. It is freaking girthy. It is chonky. I think it's around the 8 to 9 pound marks, all said and done. And
sounds terrible.
Well, it's a thick mama. It's a thick Crusader.
Oh.
It's got the armor of God on. But that's also a downside, because ounces equals pounds, pounds equals pain. So carrying this mug for a long duration of time, if you have not been hitting the gym, then you are going to suffer, but that's why we work out. I don't like the lack of...
I will say 8.2 is nothing crazy. That's, I mean, it's a little bit on the heavier side, but I think that's by today's standards, it's rather accommodating, actually, to be honest with you.
Then you are going to suffer, but that's why we work out. I don't like the lack of M-LOK rail space on the gun. I can see they have a lot of cuts on the rail for maybe lowering the weight, but what makes me mad is that you only have 1, 2, 3 panels on the side. And then on the bottom, one thing I really hate is the gas block, like the screws right here are essentially blocking one of your M-LOK panels towards the back. You may be able to squeeze a panel up front that's smaller, but it is really annoying because I was trying to put on a M-LOK rail there, a bipod, and it wasn't happening. And I could also, running it without a glove is kind of like a, hey, tough it up thing, but it's also a real thing, is when your hand is gripping that, those screws are those, I believe we can call them screws kind of thing. Those screws are exposed enough to where I could feel it, and thankfully I wasn't shooting too much so it didn't burn the heck out of me. The charging handle aesthetically, as far as looks go,
those are fair complaints.
I think it's kind of ugly. If you come in here, Savio, you can see the exposed screw heads on this, as well as a weird...
I will say that I dislike. I don't mind the charging handle itself, the way it's got that MP5 kind of design. But I noticed that screw, and I was kind of like, you know, you don't really want exposed screw heads like that, you know, ideally, especially right beside your fucking charging handle like that.
Good looking charging handle that looks kind of cheaply made, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
I wish they would dial this in and make it look a lot better. I don't know why. I feel like anything other screw type minus these type of screws look better. This is just in my head. I'm sure they had a reason for doing it. Maybe simplicity, maybe it's just the early model thing. I don't know. I don't like it. It is what it is. Now, another thing I'm not really fond of is going to be the hide over bore. So if you're looking to use your optics that you already run with the AR-15, your certain style mounts, you'll kind of see like, this isn't a crazy high skyscraper red dot mount. But due to the location of the barrel, how low it is on the gun, this space becomes rather drastic. It's pretty much getting borderline on, it's like a weird, I feel like it's a weird symbol. I feel like, so I wanted to say that feels like 3 to 4 inches of height over bore. So just a rough measurement. Because I was aiming to get these A-zone hits, I was aiming pretty high over the target to get those hits. And keep in mind, this thing is 0 to 4, you know, a solid like 50 yards, so nothing too crazy, but I was aiming rather high to account for that height over bore, which is deceptively high because this barrel sits so low in the gun, right?
Right.
You can see how much space is on top of the barrel, and it's a lot. It's kind of like, why is there so much? Could you guys not close the gap down at all? So there's a huge gap in the gas system and the barrel if you come in here and you can see it. I don't know if that's normal for these type of weapons. I feel like you could maybe get them closer and reduce the overall signature, because I don't hate the handguard. Handguard's kind of tall, but if you could reduce the size, then hey, I don't mind that. I'm okay with that. So the price factor
I mean, in the Canadian legal market, I'm just saying, like, again, you can't shoot somebody. So the girth and the length of it could just be for the case of doubling as a baseball bat in the case of a home invasion or some degree. It's not like you can shoot them. Come on now, guys. That's illegal. You know, you can't shoot somebody breaking and entering into your house. What do you think this is? Like, what? You might kill him. You might kill the guy. Oh, then you're a criminal because you killed him invading your house. Oh,
the size, then hey, I don't mind that. I'm okay with that. So the price factor of it being, you know, around $1,900 also is like, well, you know, if it's around $2,000 and say like a SCAR 17 or a SCAR 16, or maybe even the actual ACR, I think they're all floating around $3,000 plus, which is expensive. But it's like, if you're already that close, you might as well save some money and keep going down the line a little bit further. So I think time will tell to see if these things actually do catch on and see if there is a desire for them. You know, if there is this weird thing that people just love them. But I personally, if I'm being honest, I don't think these are going to catch on in the American market. If I'm being brutally honest,
doubt it.
I think
there's no in the American market. No, there's no reason why this would catch on. It's cool, but like the AR is already a tried, tested platform. You know, I think a lot of people already have experience with it. A lot of people already know what they're doing. The parts are already there. The assembly know-how is already there. There's fucking a million tutorials on the AR platform in general. Yeah, there's no reason why in the American market this would ever take over. Just doesn't make sense to me.
That like them, I think they may get us very, very small cult following, but it's one of those time will tell.
Is this the COD soundtrack?
I wish the company nothing but the best. They seem like good people. They seem very awesome, but it is one of those like, all right, let's see what actually happens. But like I was saying earlier, guys, usually when I get a gun on the channel, keep in mind I get pretty much all my guns now for free. So I'm not like emotionally invested in trying to sell you this gun. I don't care if you ever acquire one. I don't care at all. What I care about is you being well armed, well prepared, and well trained, of course. Come on, I got this shit up one more round. Kid's not doing too bad. Seems to be pulling it off. But he'll learn. He'll learn that though the people love a hero,
my God,
what the people love more is watching a hero fail. But I think the final thing we should do is see how this thing does with a dirt test. I'm a little curious. Let's see how she does. All right, weapon is hot. Got one in the chamber. We'll find a nice little dirty spot and cover her up. You were hiking out in the Arizona desert. I'm actually more concerned about my T2 optic because though I get guns for free, I strangely don't get a lot of optics for free. Throwing some dirt on
and I wish.
And the most important part, arguably. Yeah, let's throw dirt on gun. I never thought this would be my job as a grown man, just out of the desert with the boys, tossing dirt onto a weapon of war. Kind of. All right, the skinwalkers are approaching. You know what? I'm not happy with that.
Got the shit scraped out of her.
I think that's better. Oh God. All right, you know, actually, I feel like we got her dirty. I feel like, did I not get her dirty? I feel like it looks properly dirty.
No, I will say too, right now, in the typical case of any Western platform weapon too, just looking at that grime test he did there, obviously bolt closed. You never want to put your gun down with the bolt open like that. I imagine like, yeah, the second any dust, any particulate got actually into the bolt section, into that ejection port, maybe even into that magazine, I assume that's when you would start to see a lot of failures, as with any AR platform, Western platform weapon. The AKs and shit, man, you can beat the fuck out of those AKs and they would just simply fire that 7.62. They don't give a fuck, it seems like.
I feel like, did I not get her dirty? I feel like it looks properly dirty. I want to keep it on a closed chamber though. I feel like that keeps it fair. Oh.
Yeah, that's fair.
Ooh, she sounds crunchy though. She sounds hella crunchy. This is my makeshift fighting pit that we used for the channel. Will now be the makeshift dirt test. It's too big of rocks. We need fine powder.
See, and this is also too the type of environment that he's in. Obviously, he's in the dry sort of desert. You know, what would this look like in mud? You know what I mean? What would this look like in snow? you know, it all depends on your environment too, right? I feel like mud would probably kill this thing, like instantly, if you want me to be real. Then you have that charging handle on the other side too. That's probably getting gummed up. Ooh.
That one feels crusty.
Here, let me see it.
You got rocks and small nooks and crannies. I'm gonna give her a fair shake down.
Painful.
The rock stays. All right. I don't want to get my face near it. No trigger reset.
Uh-oh.
So, extracted, but didn't get the next round in there. Oop. She is crusty.
Yeah.
Bolt's not wanting to go home.
No, not closed. Yeah. Yeah, and see, that's the problem with a lot of our Western style weapons. I will say the second you put them in an environment where it's adverse, they gum up. In the desert here too, I will say, the desert is very adverse. All that small rock, that small particulate, man. Yeah, you don't want that shit in your bolt or anywhere close to it. You know, the second that gets in there, ooh, that chunk, yeah, that crunch, I should say, yeah. Painful to watch, but you got to test these things out, right? It's good to know. You have to give her a shake, I think.
Oof.
Oh.
And a failure to extract.
Yep.
So I don't think she's passing that second round of trials.
Half
See if we
open.
can cycle a few.
Okay. Nope.
No, she's not resetting that trigger.
Shame. Nope. Nope.
In Canada, we'll harvest maple syrup power. In Arizona, we must harness desert power. A bummer is on AR-15s, on the bolt, there's a little bit of leverage where you can actually push the bolt forward. On this, you don't really have a forward assist of any kind.
No.
So if the AR-15 doesn't have the forward assist, you can also kind of guide the bolt forward. With this bad boy, you really don't have the
fucking
leverage
finger
to, like,
it, finger fuck it forward.
All right, I think she's about.
He's like fucking, fucking.
She's not locking up.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna try and like pull the trigger on her. Well, guys, that was a quick, dirty little look at the Crew Arms Temp 556. Just a real fast, low down look. Not a crazy in-depth round count was conducted, so there are factors such as that. But it is kind of like a, you know, as someone who shoots a lot, this is something that I looked at, and these are a lot of the things I observed. Time will tell as these get onto the market more. So we'll see how it does, and maybe we'll revisit it down the road. So I did some more shooting a little later date and time after cleaning up after the dirt test. Gun still feels really sluggish. I mean, the bolt itself is it's supposed to be what I was told is like a 308 bolt, but it's also used as a 556 bolt, if that makes any sense. I'm still getting annoyed by the exposed keys here or the screws here because these boys heat up pretty hard.
Yeah,
and it's catching me in my little tender fingies.
I will say those nuts, screws, whatever they are under that rail there. That's a fucking stupid design. I don't know what they were thinking with that. That's dumb.
Gun was feeling very sluggish, had 2 malfunctions. Then again, I'm running 55 grain ammo, so out of this long 16-inch barrel, I figure there wouldn't be an issue. A lot of dwell time with this gas system. So
It's also got a nice hollow on it now too.
That's kind of frustrating to see that. Yet again, I mean,
it's a nice
tough,
optic,
man, because I do like the gun. I like the idea of them doing something new, and I like them being innovative. I think there's some kinks they got to work out and hit the drawing board to work out. So if they can do that, then I say, hey, cool, get on them. So she is dirty. I'll give her that. I did a hasty cleaning of the gun, you know, post dirt test, and she's still not doing how I want her to. As always, gentlemen, thanks for watching. Stay easy, stay breezy, and if you want to see some exclusive content, why don't you go check out that Patreon, where we have videos that we don't put on YouTube. All right,
okay.
Get out of here.
Damn. Oh.
How's the wind?
100 push-ups.
He's retarded.
Oh. Oh, I thought that was an awesome video, guys. That was administrative results. Canadian legal, CRU arms. Is that CRU arms? CRU arms? Temp 556. Thought that was an awesome video. We're gonna subscribe to administrative results there. I haven't seen any of his videos before. I thought that was really, really good. Really liked the way he broke it down. Really liked the cadence of his video as well. Thought he hit all the nails on the head there as far as it goes. His likes, his dislikes of the firearm. He also did a little bit of a stress test at the end there too. I thought that was really interesting. Not a lot of people are willing to muck up their guns for the content, I guess, but very good to see that he was willing to do that. Yeah, and sorry too about all the tangent stops, I guess. You know, I feel like it's impossible to not talk about that as a Canadian when we're talking about firearm laws. Again, especially like, hold on, let me just see real quick here if I can pull this up. Let me just see. Let's together real quick here at the end. Let's do this real quick here. Let's see. Marstarcanada.com. Sold out. Yeah. Let's see here. Another one, perhaps. Prohibited. Yeah. Wow. Damn. Yeah. I'm gonna go out on a limb, guys, and say it's unfortunately probably banned now. That fucking sucks, is what I will say, but is what it is. Yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe for more content from me. Of course, leave your recommendations down in the comments below, and big thank you to all of our members, all of our Hastati, our Principe, all of our Hastati, our Triarii, because we got a Triarii now, our Principe, Dagenhart, of course, our Praefectus, and Hobbit. I appreciate you guys. You guys inspire me to make more content for you guys every single day. With that, guys, this has been Centurion. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, guys.